Do you have a dark corner of your yard that needs a bit more light, but also some garden storage? So you're going to begin by getting a pair of post hole diggers and get started digging. You need this to be big enough for a 4x4 post. I got a 4x4x6, so there would be no cutting, and I went about 2 feet deep with this hole. Once you know you're at the right height, put your 4x4 in the hole and fill it back in with the soil that you took out. You're going to grab a few helpful things. One is a wall-mounted mailbox. You can find these really cheaply at your local hardware store. Then you can add anything you like. Here I've chosen to use a multi-purpose hook, and on the other side I'm adding a decorative wrought iron hook instead. Then I'm finally ready to add a solar light cap to the top of this post. It makes it look a bit more polished and finished, and it's also going to give light when it's dark outside. Then you're going to be ready to hang any supplies that you might like to have on hand when you're gardening, but you don't have room for a full potting bench or a storage container or something like that. And the great thing is that at night, this solar light comes on and it gives you a nice little bit of light in a dark corner of your yard or garden. It's just beautiful and it serves so many purposes. I hope you guys found this helpful.
We decided to elevate our driveway entrance with a couple of do-it-yourself pole planters. To do this, we picked a spot on either side of the driveway and started digging a hole using both a shovel and some post hole diggers. We then added a wooden post to the hole we just dug, but realized it was still a little too high, so we decided to cut off a little bit more of it using a saw. After placing it back in the hole, we determined it was just the right height. So I held the wooden post in place in the hole after we got it nice and leveled, and then we slowly started packing in the dirt that we previously removed by digging the hole. You don't want to fill the hole completely with dirt. Leave some room for some quick setting concrete on top. This will definitely secure the wooden post and make sure it stays in place. Then, using a watering can, we poured water on top to set it. After setting the wooden posts in place, we decided to stain them a darker color, and then we attached some ornamental hooks on the front of the post. These hooks will have our beautiful hanging baskets attached. This elevates our driveway entrance so much and gives us some instant curb appeal. Another little extra piece we decided to add to the pole planters was a solar-operated light on top. We drilled that in on the very top of the post, and at night it gives off a flame that appears to be flickering, which is a very nice touch. So both day and night, our driveway has a beautiful entrance thanks to these easy do-it-yourself pole planters.
For today's project, I headed down to my local hardware store and I grabbed one of these solar lights. First thing I got to do though is I went ahead and bought a pre-made fence post. And this is going to be great. It's already primed, but I do need to add some paint. It's best to get some high quality outdoor paint. I'm going to paint this one white. The next step was to get my house numbers. I wanted to lay those out about the middle of the post. When I put them in, I do want to pre-drill. It does come with nails, but I don't want to pound on it and damage the number. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill and they'll go in pretty easy. Once I get the first number on, I'm going to go up from there and do my middle number and my last number. Once I get those installed and they're looking good, then I headed on down to Dollar Tree and I grab one of these stands right here. All I need though on this stand is the bottom part. I need that U shape. Once I put the saw on it a couple of times, it clips right off. Look at that. Back and forth and it'll come right off. Now back to that solar light. I don't need the bottom portion. I can get rid of that. And then I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom. The reason is I want to drill a hole just big enough for the metal stand to go through. Once I get that all the way through, then I'm going to go ahead and take it and put it on there and it should pop right into place. And it's also cool because it can rotate on there and it holds it up pretty nice. Now it's time to attach it to the post. This is pretty simple. I'm just going to use some electrical clips that go on there. I just need 2. You can put 3 if you want. They screw in really nice. Once I got that, it rotates up and it's ready for the light. I noticed that the stand is going to go too far into the pot that I bought. So what I want to do is nail this little fence picket on just to give it a little bit of an extra oomph on the bottom. The next step is to add some concrete. As you can see, I always put water in the bottom so it doesn't stick, and then I put the concrete in and then put some more water on top. You can hand mix it if you want, but I went ahead and used a paddle, put it on my drill, and kept mixing. Again, just add a little bit of water as you need. Don't put too much water in. And you want to get to a consistency where the post can go inside the pot. Now, I'm going to slip it on down, push it all the way to the bottom, and that's okay if it doesn't cover everything because we have a solution in the end. But we need to hold this up while the concrete is drying overnight. I just took 2 boards, put them right across the top with some clamps, make sure it's straight and level and it holds up. The next day after the concrete dries, I can take those off and it's really strong. Look at this. It holds pretty nice and it's not going to go anywhere. And it's got a good strong base. I'm going to put some drain holes in the bottom. Go ahead and put it where I want next to my house. And then I'm going to add some potting soil. Good quality potting soil. Don't skimp on that because when we plant, we want to make sure it's good. And make sure we don't have any unwanted guests hanging around. I'm going to go ahead and plant some flowers in there and make it look really nice. Once I get all these planted, I want to make sure that I add some water because they're starters, get a good root system going, and then it's time to put on that solar light. Again, we're going to take that stand, put it on there, and look at this. This thing looks absolutely amazing. I love it with the house numbers on there and everything. And when night comes, watch this. It's absolutely going to glow and give a nice special effect. I love it. Charges during the day and it glows up at night. I hope this inspired you to go ahead and build your own solar-powered house planter numbers. I thought it turned out great. The front of my house doesn't look so good. I'm going to head on down to the hardware store and I'm going to grab me a planter pot. I'm also going to grab me a heavy-duty hose holder and I'm going to get a pre-pined post, really decorative. But first thing I'm going to do is take that pot. I'm going to go ahead and put some nice, clean, fresh water inside. Once I get that concrete poured in there, I'm going to put the whole bag. If you're mixing this by hand, don't put the whole bag in. Just make sure that you mix it as you go. I'm going to add a little bit more water on top, start mixing, and I'm going to use this paddle to go ahead and stir it up. I want to get a good consistency, make sure it's nice, not too dry and not too wet. Look at that, that's perfect. Then I'm going to take that decorative post that's pre-primed and I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there. I'm going to wiggle it back and forth so it touches the bottom. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use some clamps to hold this in place between two pieces of wood. That way I don't have to drill any holes or make it too complicated. I got to make sure it's level though. That is important. So make sure you're on level ground and stick the level up there and make sure two sides are level and ready to go. Once it dries overnight, I can go ahead and take the clamps off, take the wood down, and look at that. It's set up really nice and strong at the bottom, and it holds really good. Something I regret doing is I should have painted the post first, but I didn't, so it's okay. What I'm going to do now is paint it all the way down to the bottom on all four sides, including the top. Once it dries a few hours, I'm going to go ahead and mark for a hole, pre-drill, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a closet door bracket up there. But I'm not going to put the screw all the way in because I want to be able to pull it down. And then once I got the top one in, go ahead and pre-drill and put the second screw in, and it held really good. Next, I'm going to go to the opposite side and I'm going to mark it for another hole. Again, like I said, pre-drill first and then put a screw in, not all the way. Let it stick out a little bit so you can slide that hose holder on top of there and go ahead and cinch it down. Make sure it's nice and tight, but also want to make sure you get it level. Once it is, go ahead and pre-drill for the second hole, put that screw in and tighten it all the way. It's going to make it super strong. Right at the concrete level though, I want to make sure I do some drainage holes because I can and will get some water in this. I'm going to put it in place and then I put some marble chips in there. I like the white look to it, but you can put some planter soil if you want and put some flowers and plants in. I'm going to go ahead and get that hose all ready, wound up, ready to go. Get the knots out, hang a plant on top. It's going to look good. Now, remember that nasty knotted hose in the beginning? Look at this. It looks so much better. And I didn't have to drill any holes in the side of my house to hang the hose up. I think this turned out really well. It was inexpensive and it's super strong and really decorative. Something that anybody can build. I hope this inspired you to go ahead and put up your own curbside appeal hose holder.